I'm back in Singapore, but this time I'm thirsty. Today, it's all about some of the best drinks you can find in this dynamic city. It's time for happy hour. Walking through Singapore Street, you'll notice how colorful, vibrant, and diverse it is, and how everyone displays their passion in different ways. When it comes to attracting Epicureans from different parts of the globe, Singapore surely has a lot of unexpected things to offer, from hawker centers to high-end eateries. The same can be said about the cocktail bar scene. For such a small country, they sure have a large number of some of the world's best bars. Not only the award-winning, but also the surprising and unexpected. I arrived on a late-night flight and I wanted some zichar, so I went to one of my favorite late-night spots. On the menu, some cereal prawns, black pepper crab, pork ribs, and other dishes I crave for when I'm back home. I haven't been out drinking in a while, so I thought I'd call a friend to give me the lay of the land. Adonis is the head bartender at Origin in the Shangri-La, one of the hottest cocktail bars in town.
Perfect first meal in Singapore. I'm gonna take a bite first before I start talking. So you've been working the cocktail scene for how long now?
I've been working in Singapore for almost 16 years. Generally, I think the bar scene in Singapore has evolved drastically.
Yeah.
Like unlike those like stiff and professional service that we've come to expect, bartenders get to be more get out of the box. They
Correct.
become more creative.
Now people, when they come here, they do expect really great bar programs, really great bartenders and things like that. But you've been in the hotel scene for a long time. The technical aspects of cocktail making, which is kind of like knowing all the classics, but also improving them. I think the key to a great cocktail bar is the hospitality.
100%.
Right?
Singapore has continued to pursue a green and sustainable future since announcing its Green Plan 2030. It's evident on the roads, in the structures, and there's always lots of green around. And now it's making its way into the bar scene. Located on Amoy Street in Chinatown, Fura places all bets on making sustainable dining and mixology approachable through the use of ingredients that have a low carbon footprint. Fura means pine in Swedish. They wanted to show the symbiosis between flora and fauna and how they rebalance the ecosystem. The bar is very much an extension of the founders Sasha and Christina, and a manifestation of what they want in life, which is sustainability, living consciously, future food, and the idea of collaborative survival. Both have impressive resumes. Christina, once the head forager at Noma, one of the best restaurants in the world, helms the kitchen, while Sasha, who has worked in some of the best bars in the country, runs the cocktail program.
When people say Fura, come to Fura, what's the key takeaway that people, that you want your customers to have?
For Fura, it's very personal to Christina and myself, and I always say it's like an extension of who we are, whether it's like the music to like how the place like look and feel. We both believe like the way we eat needs to change, and that's kind of what we're doing with Fura. That's why Journal of Future Foods. So just using ingredients that are in abundance, invasive or prevalent. Yeah. So most things are plant-based.
And in terms of how does that then translate in terms of the spirits and the cocktails that you're making, the cocktail program you run?
So with Journal of Future Foods, every drink has like a highlight ingredient. So jellyfish infused with gin, and then we do a fish leaf distillate, spirulina vermouth, and then on the top is a kombu oil.
Very smooth.
I love their belief that the way people eat is generational. You eat what your parents ate, and then they ate what their parents ate. But times have changed. Ingredients, the climate, and the environment are different now than they were 80 years ago. So shouldn't our way of consuming evolve as well? Their jellyfish martini, made, yes, with jellyfish, fish leaf, vermouth, gin, spirulina, and kombu oil, was conceived because currently jellyfish are seen as invasive species where they harvest them. On the ugly, delicious side of their menu, they make their own wines from produce that was deemed too ugly to sell by farmers and producers.
So this one is the caviar papi. So the drink itself is really fresh. It's just vodka, green apple, lemon balm, and then a coriander seed vermouth. And then the ice cream is a kombu ice cream, and it's topped with black garlic cup. Yeah.
I love the savoriness of that
Yeah.
ice cream, and the black garlic's beautiful. I mean, I drank that in one go.
I think I think Singapore, you definitely have like a good balance between food and drinks because both like restaurants and bars are pretty heightened. And I think like definitely you have so much more camaraderie in Singapore between the industry. So like we have, you know, the bars across the street and restaurants down the road who like hand walk guests over, and then they just like, you know, everyone's trying to help each other out. And like if one place wins or, you know, is really successful or, you know, whatever, then like we all win and benefit from it, and that's how we all see it.
Beautiful. And this is the
That's the roasted cabbage. So it's ugly. Is the ugly cabbage from our fresh veggies guy.
Okay.
And so in between the layers is piped like a miso tahini. As we roast it, then you have kind of this crispy, cheesy outer edge, and then the inside's like nice and creamy. We want to make sure that everything is approachable, and then with that is like rebuilding your relationship with like vegetarian and vegan food, and that, you know, it's not some like raw kale salad. It's like it can be super delicious and filling and satisfying and fun and tasty. Yeah.
This bar is a perfect illustration of Singapore's dedication to sustainability, and that anyone can make an impact as long as they put some effort behind it.
One thing I love about Singapore, I don't know if it's because it's such a condensed city and country, is that you got a lot of small locations and people get very creative with it. So I'm about to meet the owner and the master distiller of Compendium spirits, and I think this is the place.
We opened this place in about 2018. We started as the tiny winery. But back then was 2016 and 17. The first two spirits that we released are our locally inspired gins. And we have one Rojak gin, and also the other one is called Chendol gin. So basically all the inspirations from the two famous dishes in Singapore. And we only use natural ingredients. We don't add any additives or coloring.
Got it.
So all the color is from the barrel itself.
Okay.
With smaller barrel, we actually have this greater surface area to volume ratio.
Yeah.
In a way, we can kind of accelerate the aging process with us.
Just a couple of blocks away from Fura and in the heart of Singapore's central business district is the homegrown Distillery brand's Compendium's new flagship bar, Anthology. Anthology, a 3-story shop house that features a wide selection of their own spirits and experiments, serves both cocktails and great food. On the first floor, you have the bar area and kitchen where they serve spirit tasting flights to craft cocktails using Compendium Spirits products side by side with a modern Asian menu. The second floor is a private lounge for exclusive chartered members where they can enjoy their spirits. To become a member, you'll need to buy a barrel, which is kept for you on the third floor. The cellar has barrels from all their members varying in sizes. The idea is you select your spirit and then age it for 6 months to a year here, and then you can come back to drink it or ask for it to be bottled for you.
The bar Anthology was actually created as a flagship home brand for Compendium, which has been around since 2015. So this bar was actually built as kind of like an education process as well, that we can actually make good drinks using our local products as well. Yeah, so a lot of it is going to be very Asian inspired. We're going to be having some food dishes as well. We do have kind of like the main categories, which is your gins, vodkas, rum, whiskey. From left to right, you have our
Mead
fermented
first.
rice mead.
I had actually never heard of rice whiskey before. But if you were to give me this in a glass, you wouldn't question it,
Yeah.
right?
That's right.
You'd
that's
be like,
right.
yeah, it's whiskey.
So basically, mead is going to be a basic fermentation process. So what we're doing here is basically a story. So what you have on the flight is basically from the start to the finish.
Awesome.
So before it becomes a spirit, that's your fermented mead.
Yeah.
And then an unaged whiskey, and compared to the aged whiskey, so that way you can tell the difference, see what the barrel actually does with the whiskey.
Correct.
How it mellows it down, how it adds those kind of flavor notes. You get to the aged whiskey, you can get the difference, and of course the cask strength.
So this is how many months aged?
So that's about a year.
Yeah, that's where your honey, your caramel comes
Correct.
from. Like this
That's
is
all the
really
flavors coming from the barrels. It mellows it down a bit as well in terms of flavor, rounds it up, you know, so it's not as harsh.
smooth. Like most whiskeys come in hot.
Yep.
Right at the front.
Yeah.
This one really just mellows out, and then now
now it's lingering.
Yeah.
You get kind of like that
Yeah.
that slow burn in the back. Maybe that's one. I don't know if it's the main difference between kind of using wheat and barley for whiskey versus rice, but it's very subtle at the front, which is
Yeah.
quite nice. Down at Prinsep Street, you'll find Mama Diam or Mama Shop, which is famously known as an iconic sundry shop for many Singaporeans where you can buy old school snacks and candies. On the second floor is Shang, which translates to upstairs. We entered an office because this actually looks like an elevator. All right, so we're in Shang now.
Yes.
On top of Mama Diam.
Right.
And you just told me that this is 6 weeks old.
It is.
And I love how the interior is so intricate. Can you tell me about the concept that you wanted to build here?
Most of Singaporeans stay in this environment since back in the days. So what we're trying to do here is to replicate that feeling, making you feel like you're coming back home, having dishes and cocktails that are inspired by home.
Is that where you grew up also? Is that kind of like why you remember it?
Right. For the food and drinks over here, I think we are looking at not just local flavors, but things that you bring home.
I mean, so I've been to a lot of bars in Singapore.
Yes,
There's
definitely.
so many cocktail bars
That's
here,
right.
So how do you kind of make yourself different? Or what do you
Right.
feel like you're creating something unique compared to what's currently on offer out there?
Right, so over here, apart from the classics that we all know that is already very prominent in Singapore, the bar scene in Singapore is so strong, right?
Yeah.
So over here, we really want to recreate cocktails that is built around local flavors. So we try to relinquish and share these memories with our friends, or I would say our customers.
All right, so what do we have in front of us here?
Right, so this drink is called Raspberry Ripple.
Okay.
So this is inspired by the ice cream man who used to sell this rainbow bread ice cream. So it's supposed to be a very easygoing cocktail. You can taste the berry notes.
Kind of reminds you of a bramble a little bit.
Yep.
But then you get that ice creamy flavor
Twist
from
it
the cream
from
top.
the cream top, yeah.
And then the other drink here is...
Right, so this drink, we call it 3 times a day.
You know, I love that you put this next to it because I literally can drink half a bottle.
You like
of
this?
I love it.
So that's why this drink is called 3 times a day, because we hope that after drinking this 3 times a day, you feel better.
Should be okay.
Yeah, you feel better.
Okay, let's try it.
Yeah, so I would say this is a cocktail with a quiet taste.
This is up my alley.
Is it?
Yeah,
Ali?
it actually tastes
Similar.
fairly similar to
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
just the adult version.
Right, right.
This, by the way, is delicious.
Right,
Is
so-
that like a chili crab?
Right, so this is inspired by chili crab. So, so over here we do our noodles in-house daily, fresh. So this is actually like a ravioli stuffed with flour crab meat, a bit of feta cheese.
Nice. And then this one here?
So this is inspired by pig trotter vermicelli, which is very popular in Singapore. So we do our linguine in-house, serve it with pork trotter, soy-based, something that's very heartwarming, easy to eat.
Very comforting.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's a twist on the classic, but yet not deviate too much from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what I love with what you've achieved is you see a lot of cocktail bars who have Singapore-inspired kind of flavors
Yep.
and culture in their drinks.
Right.
But you went all out. I mean, it's really well put together. I think it's a great job that you guys have done.
Thank you.
Yeah, perfect. We then headed down to Mama Diam's Speakeasy Bar. It's a total contrast from its facade and the second floor, but it will give you a unique experience with their playful selection of cocktails and dishes inspired by Singapore.
Okay, so welcome to Mama Diam, right? So Mama Diam is actually a term in Hokkien that is used to describe mama shops.
Okay.
Or mama shops, they are actually known as convenience store.
In the Philippines, they're called sari-sari.
Sari-sari.
Yeah,
Yes,
similar.
I think similar, right? Yeah, so this place is a very important part about my childhood because every time after school, I would come to this place to buy my snacks.
Yeah.
And then my parents would pick me up.
It was like your hangout,
A hangout
like
place.
street side
Right.
hangout spot, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. That's
Okay.
right. Over here, we are trying to pay tribute to Mama Shop.
Okay.
And that's why we have this like speakeasy kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You enter through the shelf at the back, it transport you to a modern world.
So what's the cocktail program like in Mama Diam's and the food menu in Mama Diam's?
So the cocktail program in Mama Diam is very different from Shang.
Yeah.
Because our targeted audience over here are, I would say, young adults all the way to families.
So you have kids coming in also during the day and everything.
So we have families who come with their grandchildren.
Oh,
and
nice.
all, yeah.
Okay. And I mean, talking to you, it feels like all these concepts are very personal to you, right? It's based on you, where you come from, what you want to put in place, and I think that's kind of like the mark of success usually is when you're really passionate about the places that you create, right? And making your guests feel that same atmosphere. Yeah, because it is. And I've been here sitting and people are taking pictures like right now, you know, in the mama shop, and it's culturally really cool. And in the cocktail scene where sometimes cocktail bars can feel very intimidating, this feels very casual and fun.
So we've been to bars with unique themes and characters, but what makes this place stand out from the others is that it's home to Singapore's first gin distillery.
The distillery's bar name is Gin Jungle and aptly represents their location. Dempsey Hill used to be a dense jungle which eventually became a spice plantation and then army barracks when the British were in Singapore. Now it's home to some of the city's best restaurants like Burnt Ends.
I am always amazed by the green spaces in Singapore. In such a dense city, you have these beautiful pockets of green. And this place is called the Gin Jungle, and I kind of get it now. You've got this lush exterior, and we're about to drink some really good drinks.
So we're Tanglin Gin, Singapore's first gin distillery. We were founded back in 2018 when we launched to the market, and we launched as Singapore's first gin, right? So everything we do has Singapore in mind. As Singapore is the melting pot of Asia, we have a lot of inspiration we can draw from. So in saying we make gin, we actually use our still to create the gin. And gin, if anyone doesn't know, has to be using one core ingredient, which is called, exactly, juniper. Juniper. So the juniper berry, you need at least 50% of your ingredients must be juniper, and from there, you then can create gin. So yeah, this one's our orchid gin. This one's going to be floral on the nose, and then as it goes to your palate, you're going to get some herbal notes. This doesn't have a super long finish. It's a very easy, drinkable gin.
Very kind of smooth, right? Yeah.
Super smooth. I think it comes from the vanilla that we're using inside. And then also it lends itself to great cocktail making because it's very diverse. You can mix it into lots of different things. So the cocktail we've chosen here is the guava lava. This is in a Collins style cocktail. And that's using the orchid gin mixed into some guava and all this sort of fun tropical vibe. And then if you try the garnish on top, that's a piece of guava with some in-house sour plum gel that we've made.
That's tasty.
Right?
Yeah. In the Philippines, we eat our guava sometimes with like a spicy, savory powder, so it kind of has that vibe.
Yeah, it sort of complements each other, and then the drink works well.
What was the pepper in this one again?
So this one's using the Java pepper.
That really comes through.
Yeah, the Java pepper especially comes through in this one. It's quite a distinct pepper profile. It's not meant to blend in, it's meant to sort of give you a little punch, so you can taste that it's there.
And the idea behind, so you're saying, the gin kind of represents Singapore being a melting pot of Asia.
Yeah.
So the menu here is pretty much similar in terms of trying to have different notes from Asia.
Yeah, exactly. So our gin is influenced heavily by Singapore, which is a lot of great Asian cultures and representations, but then we try and showcase that in our cocktail and food menu as well. So for instance, the guava lava, guava with sour plum, it's a very Asian treat. We have it like this way.
It's really nice. I could actually down this quite easily.
Yeah, very refreshing for the Singapore heat.
That's like your day drinking drink.
Exactly.
I think, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 36.
Yep.
Once you're 36, day drinking is the way to go. Same
age. There we go. Okay, so the second one we're going to try here is the Singapore gin. Now, as I said before, this is a citrus forward gin. So when you have citrus in your palate, you're going to want to salivate a little bit more, which is great because all those flavors are going to start circulating even after you've swallowed the spirit. So let's give this one a go. This should be citrus forward. You've got a little bit of fresh ginger, kaffir lime leaf, right? We've got that compot pepper. Also. And then also as it goes down, warmth from that dried chili seed.
Yeah.
Not super spicy, but you got all those nice spice elements to it.
This one's a bit more aggressive in that first kind of sip.
Yep.
Whereas this one was really kind of just subtle, but this one has like that nice tanginess to it, which is good.
Exactly. This one's a bit more complex with the flavor profile, which is why the first one, very smooth, very easy drinking. This one we wanted to pack a lot of flavor profile into. So it started out as the orchid gin, and then Singapore gin quickly became our hero spirit. I think, because we're exporting all around the world and we sell it duty free at the airport and everything, having Singapore gin across the labels always can help you.
Yeah.
But then when it comes down to the flavour profile, it's much more Asian influence forward profile, right? The first one you tried, it's a very nice gin. It has a lot of Asian influence to it, but it's not distinctly like flavour profile forward of all these different Asian ingredients.
Correct.
Whereas the second one, you get the Southeast Asian influence
it feels a bit more
on the
exotic,
palate.
yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
After all that we experienced, I felt that we should end where we started. So I made my way to the Shangri-La to meet Adonis once more at his bar Origin to close my trip with a couple last sips.
Finally in Origin, I'm really happy to be here. Beautiful space. You're saying it's inspired by an old train station?
Old Singapore train station. Yeah.
Okay, nice.
And the menu is conceptualized according to time travel concept. So it's timeline, invention, then symbolic ingredients.
So all the
related to
big
story.
inventions, and that kind of was the inspiration for each of
Yeah,
these.
100%.
Nice. I never thought I was going to say this to a guy, but take me to the Mile High Club.
Okay, let's go. So the 1903 Mile High Club is inspired by the first commercial flight.
Okay.
And the DNA of the drink is actually the aviation cocktail.
Yep. Okay.
So as you notice, it says on the menu that all the interracial ingredients plus your performance. So basically what we're gonna be doing is we'll be mixing.
I love all the innuendos.
Are you ready to shake, bro?
So traditional aviation, I mean, I haven't made one in a long time, but that's crème de mûre, gin, lime.
Yeah, and maraschino. When was the last time you shook a cocktail, bro?
A cocktail?
Yeah. When was the last time you shook?
Not too bad. I just moved into my new house and I have a bar in my house. So I shook a cocktail a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
but
okay.
not in a. I usually use these tins here, not in a 3-piece.
Yeah, I mean we try to use this so it's more safe for other guests too. Yeah, because I don't think Boston will be the best way.
Yeah.
The last but not the least is your performance.
See, pretty.
Oh, wow.
I have a chicken wing shake.
Oh yeah,
I'm one of those.
They said that the longer you shake, the more juice will come out.
Yeah. Let's see if my dilution was.
I think you're just precise, bro.
Is it?
Enjoy.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
So well balanced. Okay.
So during the 55-year anniversary of Shangri-La, we come up with our own Fiji rum. So this is combination. This is like a 6-year-old rum.
Do not be generous. There, that's perfect. Thank you.
Bro. Okay. Thank you for coming to Origin Bar, bro.
Cheers. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great way to end the trip, man. Thank you so much.
No
Appreciate
worries,
it.
bro. So what's
Thank
your plan
you.
after this?
Sleep.
Oh.
A lot of sleep.
What a trip. Singapore is known as a hub for many things: technology, science, culture, the arts, great food, and now it's probably one of the best places for cocktails as well. So next time you're looking for a unique and dynamic happy hour, just make it Singapore.